It's Cup Final recap time on SLP episode 284. We get a winning Leeds fan on to talk us through how it was to be a fan for such a unique final. We also have a game of Squaddy or Student in the news after an impromptu new quiz, Hair or Gut. There's 5 Super League games, 2 NRL semi-finals and loads more to go over to, and we look ahead to not 1 but 3 exciting Panthers matches this weekend. So get strapped in, it's SLP time. Hello listeners, welcome along to episode 284 of the Super League pod. It is Challenge Cup Final recap week. I'm joined by Tim. Welcome back, Tim.
Hi, are you alright?
Good, thank you, yes. And someone who's even better than both of us are, I'm sure. As is tradition after a major final, we've brought in a fan from the winning side, and we've got John, the Leeds fan. Welcome back, John.
Thanks very much, Mark. Nice to be back.
Yeah, we had you on in lockdown. I can't remember which position we spoke about when you were on the show, but we had you on in our lockdown specials.
Yeah, it was props with Barry Mack.
Of course, yeah. Someone else will be no doubt celebrating after Saturday's result in the Challenge Cup final. We're gonna start. Soon jump into that cup final recap with John to get his different story of a cup final that we won't have had like this one to talk to a fan about in our 6 seasons of existence. After that, me and Tim will get into the week's news. We'll recap 5 Super League games from the last week, some NRL semi-final action, and predict the outcomes of 9 Super League games to come over the next week. So we best crack on, but before we do, let's give a big shout out to our sponsor. Tim, do you want to let everyone know about our sponsor?
Yep, this episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop, where you can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards, and much more over at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. If you visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and any orders over £5, you can earn 5% cash back. And also 1% of your order value will go into the SLP coffers just by putting SLP discount at SLP discount at the checkout.
Yeah, and I'm sure after the humiliation at the hands of Hull FC that Rob's Toy Shop's Castle for Tigers suffered, they will really enjoy the pick-me-up of some customs, so do head over to Rob's Toy Shop on eBay as we head over to talk about the Challenge Cup Final. Right, so John, we'll talk through your week and your day on Saturday and all of those things in a little while. But for those who for some have had their heads under a rock over the last few days, the vital numbers from the game were that Leeds Rhinos came out winners over Salford Red Devils. It was 17 points to 16. It was 12-6 to Leeds at half time, and they managed to squeak out a drop goal to win it. Liam Moore was the referee, reportedly the youngest ever Challenge Cup final referee. In terms of the scoring, Ash Hanley had 2 tries and Tom Briscoe 1 try for Leeds, with Reece Martin kicking 2 goals and Luke Gale kicking the all-important drop goal. It was Reece Williams, Paulie and James Greenwood who got the tries for Salford, with Kristen Inu kicking 2 goals. But we've got loads of fan views to get to. But I think first of all, let's talk to you, John, about your experience of this different Challenge Cup final. Did it feel the same in the week building up to other recent cup finals Leeds have been in?
Recent ones. It was strange because I'd got tickets to go to the final at Wembley with a couple of mates, and then after it kind of been rescheduled, and then there was hope that fans would be allowed in and things like that. And then after it was definitely confirmed that it was going to be behind closed doors, then it was sort of rearranging what to do and thinking, it's definitely going to be a different experience. But you're kind of used to watching the games without fans now, and they do feel a bit eerie. But Yeah, so I watched it in the pub, which was a good second choice, I guess, to actually being there. But again, it's all sitting down, and there's no kind of, it's not a packed pub with people standing and jumping about and cheering and things like that. So it's still kind of a different experience to what you'd normally get.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a chance to watch it in a pub would be a fine thing where I am at the moment. Enjoy your tier 2 status while it lasts. But did you have the same nerves? Did you have the same anticipation on building up to the day and the kickoff?
Yeah, there was a little bit. I've got to admit to maybe a little bit of optimism verging on kind of confidence, verging on arrogance, I guess, when the news came out about the Salford players getting testing positive for COVID, and instantly, my fingers were crossed for Sargentson and Brown. And then when they said it was Sargentson, I put money on Leeds 13 plus straight away, and forgot Evans was coming back, and forgot that Salford can actually play. So I was a bit more confident than probably warranted, but was still kind of nervous because it's still a kind of untested side, and it's not that long ago when we losing to Bradford and stuff like that.
Well, wasn't that was that Richard Agard's first game in charge, or was it Ferner's last game in charge?
Oh, I think it was
Agard's first. I think
it was Agard's first, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, from there to here, it's quite the turnaround, I guess, for this group of players, because it's mostly the same side with Gale and Pryor added, really, isn't it?
Yeah. When did who was I thinking about earlier? Myler's been there a couple of years.
Yeah.
Louis kind of swapped middle of last year with Lola here. But the core is still there, isn't it? And it's still there was there 2 or 3 people from the 2015 final.
Briscoe and Cuthbertson, I think.
And
yeah.
Sutcliffe, Liam Sutcliffe, did he play in that one? I can't remember. So there's still a few there, but
I think Sutcliffe
generally
played in the year before the 14 one. Yeah.
And then there's still some young players coming up like Oledzki and those kind of people who really have only known the real struggle of not playing very well and getting beaten every week.
So, but you still thought that this team had it in them going into kickoff. Did you get the normal sort of nerves when Abide With Me? I mean, that was a fantastic and different performance of that, and the national anthem and stuff. Did it have you up? Were you allowed to stand up in the pub?
we weren't allowed to stand up without a mask on. But yeah, there's still. I think they did a really good job of still making that happen and making that the hair on the back of your neck stand up and the goosebumps on your arm from not being in the stadium and singing it along with 70,000 other people. I still think it was a really good what's the alternative to it?
Yeah.
So there was still atmosphere there, but like I said, it wasn't a packed pub with people really cheering along and singing. But you still get nervous because at the end of the day, it's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll go through the other fan views, and then we'll sort of talk through the match action with those to kind of help us frame it, and then we'll get your takes on sort of different stages in the game, what's your thoughts were at those stages. So we'll move into the fan views then. Tim, do you want to start with inevitably the first fan view on the game?
Yep, the fastest finger from Switzerland, Carsten, said, "A very entertaining game that was. I thought Leeds lost it when they didn't convert their field position into points in the first half, and Salford had a better second half. Richie Mulriders, his words, deserved Lance Todd winner, but Gale earned it too. Kevin Brown nearly invisible as always when he plays at Wembley."
Pop the Viking said, "A great game, gutted for Salford, but both sets of players made what was a great final. Also thought the referee had a good game."
Dr. Bob Phillips says that was stressful first half to Leeds by far, but second half they were lucky to hold on. Myler was absolutely the key needed, but Gale essential. Watkins, he's still pretty good, isn't he?
Cutthroat Jake said, "What a game. Both teams did their bit in one of the best finals I've seen. Myler deserved the Lance Todd with an excellent performance from fullback. Shame he didn't make the switch earlier in his career, as with more experience he could have been a British Brent Webb." What? He could have thrown forward passes constantly.
Dr. Hideous says, despite the lack of crowd and disappointing dearth of on-field punch-ups, that was an outstanding game. I just wish it could have gone on longer.
Paul Mac _78 said, Leeds overall the better side, but have to feel for Salford. The poorly play the ball call was the deciding factor. But the very next two Leeds play the balls were exactly the same but not called. And while setting up for the equalising field goal, Leeds were all in front of the ref, but he was too gutless to penalise. 2 finals in 2 years where Salford have had the rough end of the stick in regards to refereeing. So it's 2 slightly different views we've seen so far on the match official.
Rich Wilkinson said it was a really tense final, another trophy for Leeds. That's 20 years of filling up the cabinet. Great to see us back on the podium. Really chuffed for all involved with the club. The Luke Gale signing was totally justified. He's been inspirational. Really happy for Agar as he's a top bloke, marching on together.
Tom Andrews said, very enjoyable cup final, peaking with Salford losing by a long-range drop goal. Said in my review for Tuesday's game, Paulie can be a liability late in games, although I think the penalty was harsh. Sure, a certain Cass fan enjoyed seeing Gale lift the cup.
St. David says, such a shame we couldn't be there for this tight if scrappy cup final. Both sides gave their all and it could have gone either way. In the end, Leeds edged home after a correct but pretty soft penalty, gave them the field position for Gale to hit the 1-pointer. Feel for Salford, but congratulations to Leeds.
Yep, at MikeWeb58, and this serves as a good reminder to say on the episode blog post on superleaguepod.com, you'll see all the vital information for the offload programme that Mike works as part of in his community foundation role at Saints. But Mike said, no dog in the fight, so I enjoyed a stress-free and gripping match. Brilliant Salford try. Shame BBC News ignored it, and Leeds always seemed to have the edge. Right decision with the penalty, but it should have noticed the same offence by Leeds in the match-winning set. BBC presentation excellent.
Lee Whitnell said, what a pity there was no crowd at this final. The spectacle that both teams put on really deserved an electric Wembley atmosphere. Leeds' masterstroke was allowing Salford to grab the lead earlier than they used to. Whilst they're superb at chasing down a lead, they're not as good defending one. Leeds were well worth the win, and Myler had a belter. Cracking review.
That's good review. David Pye said, great game. Shame Salford couldn't win it, but each side gave us a great spectacle and either would be deserved winners. Happy that we have a great advert for the game. Be interested to hear TV figures and wider feedback from TV and those outside the game. Well, obviously on SLP you're not going to get much from those outside the game. We are all firmly entrenched in it, but the TV figures were apparently around about the 1.6 million mark at the peak and averaged throughout the whole of the 3 hours also of coverage over 1 million, and it was the most viewed programme on any television channel for the entire period that the BBC Rugby League final coverage was on BBC One on Saturday from about 1 o'clock, 1:15 was it when they showed the Burrow documentary?
Yeah, it was quite early, yeah.
So there you go. I can answer that part of it, David, but I can't tell you what people outside of the game thought. Quite a lot of positivity about the game, Tim. Do you agree that it was a great spectacle?
I think it was a really well balanced final. I don't think it was necessarily the best ever in some respects in terms of skill. I think the two teams were so evenly matched that they made it a good contest, and I think that really added to it. And I think because everybody has been starved of that sort of occasion this year, I think everybody was looking forward to it in a way that we wouldn't have been. I certainly know I was, and in fact I managed to get Heather to watch it as well, which was quite good. But it's quite fun as well because we'd actually seen 5 of the Leeds players the night before. So we'd gone.
This is what you did. You see, you went stalking Leeds players because you thought, right, if I show her a player in real life, then she'll be more interested in the narrative of watching them play on the telly.
Pretty well. It just happened to work out. We went to Nando's, and
that's fucking rugby league. Yeah, and then you went to Costa.
Well, I was at least expecting to see Matthew Shaw or someone like that in there, but I didn't see that. So so far there was no one we saw, and then it was on the way home as we were coming out the back of the outlet to walk home. There were 5 of the Leeds players just gone for a stroll from their hotel and just going for a walk round. And we saw both Bristol